It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He says, "Son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes." La 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 di da da di da, la da da di da di da. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. All right, so before we dive in and look at the actual chords and how to play them, I just want to give you an overview, right? Check this out. This is the main chord progression that this song is built around, right? The intro, the verse, the chorus, they all use this. Even the harmonica solos are going to use the same chord progression. And the reason I want to bring this up now is to explain the fact that this song musically, it's sort of characterized by this descending bass line throughout each of these sections. So you see these chord names, some of them have a slash in the chord name. What the slash means though is that it tells you what the bass note is, right? Now I'm gonna show you strumming in the next step. I'm gonna be teaching you these chords using tabs, as you see on screen right now. I think these are easier for communicating how to play these chords with finger positions, but fear not, I also have this in my practice notes, the same information written up using chord charts. So if you're allergic to tabs, that's fine. I will show you this in my practice notes as well if you want to look at these chord charts, and I've sort of highlighted the bass notes in each of them as well, right? But going back to the tabs here. So this first line, right, is 2 lines. This main progression is 2 lines. We're going to have 3 beats per each chord, okay? The circled note represents the bass note. Later on when we get to strumming, if you can, I encourage you to practice plucking the bass note and then doing the strum. Now I should also note when I show you these chords, notice how I'm not writing any of the notes in my tabs on the thinnest string. The reason why is I want the, I want the melody that you're singing to really stand out, and if we are too strummy with that thinnest string, it might get in the way. And also, notice how most of these chords, not all, but most have this first fret on the 2nd string. So this is a nice way to just sort of give a nice thing that complements the singing along really well. So if you can, just try to skip that thinnest string when you're strumming. Just focus your strums on the middle 4 strings if you can, right? Now, I'll talk about strumming in the next step. But the C, pretty straightforward. G over B, straightforward as well. We're just gonna use our middle finger there on that 2nd fret. Now the F over A, I have never really played this chord in any song that I can remember. It's basically an F triad, right? 3rd, 2nd, and 1st fret on these strings right here, but we want this 5th string to be open, right? So, okay, and I'll talk about later, you can use an A minor there if you want. It's gonna sound just fine. This next chord though, as we go to a C over G, this is one of the first tricky chord transitions you're gonna have to make. Going from this F over A to this C over G. It's tricky because you're gonna keep this finger still, which is nice and straightforward, but we have to move these 2 fingers, your middle and your ring, and you have to move them a different amount each. Your middle finger is gonna go 1 string over, and your ring finger is gonna go 2 strings over. So when I'm playing this, I will kind of move these fingers one at a time. Like watch my fingers here. See how my middle finger was the 2nd one to move? I just find that's easier than having to move both fingers at once. Okay, so we have our C, our G over B, our F over A, and then our C over G. Okay, and if that F over A is just giving you trouble, use an A minor instead. That makes the next transition you do so much easier. That would sound like this. Okay, going from an A minor to a C over G is very straightforward. You're just moving 1 finger. That's a lot easier to do. Okay, now for this F and the 2nd half of this line here, most folks online who teach this song teach you to do a full 6-string F, or they have you wrap your thumb. You can do that if you want, and then that sets you up for the next chord, which is a C over E, right? I don't love this C over E with the low bass note right here, because I just find it kind of muddy and it doesn't, I don't know, doesn't sound as good to my ear. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is to do this version of F where you're using the 4th string bass note, okay? And you can strum the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, but when we do the sort of strumming part, which I'll teach you next, we're going to sort of pluck, if you can, make sure that 4th string note is played nice and clearly, all right? And then you're going to go to a C over E. Just think of this as a regular C, but we want the 4th string note to be the one that rings out clearly, okay? So F, C, D7, and then a regular G, okay? So that first line, if I'm just doing the chords, okay? And then the second line is mostly the same. Let's check it out right here. It's going to start off with the first 4 chords being the same, right? We're all in the mood for a melody. Now, we have another F, okay? You can just use those middle 4 strings as I taught you. If you're able to wrap your thumb, you can do that. It's going to sound really good. And then we have this last tricky chord here. This is technically called an F over G. So you take the same F chord, but we want to add this note right here, this 3rd fret of the 6th string. So what I do is if you're doing this 4-finger F right here in the middle 4 strings, you can just move your ring finger to the thickest string 3rd fret, right? So, and then to a C. Okay, so if you're wrapping your thumb, same deal. You're always going to use your ring finger down here. That's what I find easiest. Again, some teachers will teach this. They'll like wrap their thumb like that. I've never been able to do this comfortably, so I'm not going to teach you that way, right? You can do that if you want, though. So the whole thing, if I did a simple singing along, right? So sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody. Got us feeling all right. And you're going to do 2 measures of C right there, okay? So that's going to be the main progression. I'll talk about strumming in just 1 second here. Before I move on, let me show you the refrain or the interlude. I don't know what you call it. This is the la di di da di di da, right? Check this out. A minor to start with. Okay, we're going to keep our index finger on that 1st fret of the 2nd string the entire time here, okay? So A minor. Now, lots of teachers who teach this song, who play guitar, will show you an A minor over G. You can do that if you want. I don't love this chord because my other fingers have trouble keeping their grip on those strings when you bring your pinky over. So what I like to do, it is incredibly much more easy to play, is take your A minor and then move your ring finger to that 3rd fret of the thickest string. Okay, you can think of this as an A minor 7 over G, or you can think of it as a C over G. The bass note is what matters here, though, okay? So A minor 7 over G. Now, D7 over F sharp. What we're going to do here, tricky one to learn if you've never learned this before. 2nd fret of the thickest string with your middle finger, and then 2nd fret of the 3rd string with your ring finger, okay? Okay, don't worry about playing the 5th string cleanly. You can just mute it with your middle finger there. And then we go to an F. Okay, I'm wrapping my thumb here, which is tricky to do. If the thumb wrapping is not something you can do, just play the middle 4 strings, right? 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So we have this main progression. A minor 7 over G, D7 over F sharp, and then F. Okay, I'm fretting the 5th string. You don't have to. You could just do this. Just make sure you mute that 5th string, and you repeat that. La da, dee dee da. But then when you repeat it, you stay on the D7 over F sharp, and then you go to this 2nd line and this last line of this refrain, which is a G. Now, I really recommend using your ring finger down here, because the next chord is a G over F, then a G over E, then a G over D. Okay, so that refrain or that interlude, if you sung it, I'm just going to sort of do a casual single strum of each chord. La da di da da di da, la da ba, la di da da di da, di da. It kind of sounds stilted when I do a single strum, right? But that is how you play that refrain or interlude. So again, those two parts give you about 95% of the song. I'll talk about the ending riffs we'll need in a little bit. But what I just showed you is the chord shapes. What you want to do when you're practicing this is spend time just getting your hands used to going through these chord progressions. Again, they're written up in my practice notes in tab form with the finger positions noted, and also in chord chart form, if that is easier for you to use. Once we bring in strumming, it's going to get a little bit tougher because we have to be a bit precise with our pick, and we have to be counting and keeping a steady groove and everything. You don't want to be asking yourself to do that if you haven't fully learned these chords yet. So spend time being patient, learn these chords by themselves. You can hum slowly, and then when you're ready, we can dig into the strumming. So I'll talk about that now. The simplest way to do the strumming is to do just a bass note on the 1 count and then a simple down strum on the 2 and the 3 counts. So this song is in 3/4 time. It means 3 beats per measure, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. Okay, that's generally the vibe right there, right? So here is how I'd recommend doing it. This is assuming you have these chords under your belt, so give that some practice if not, but it basically is like this. I've already taught you these chords, right? Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Let's go to that refrain now, okay? And la da di da da di da. La da da di da di da. John at the bar is a friend of mine. Is it John? I think so. And one quick note about this refrain, right? That A minor that we're gonna go to as we start to sing la da 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 di da. One little trick you can use in the measure of C just before it, you can do this little walk down. It's a 1-note walk down. So basically the C is gonna be, you're just gonna do the 2nd fret of the 5th string on the 3rd count of that C measure, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so that's a little trick you can do to sort of ease into the refrain. It's not required, but it sounds nice and good. Anyhow, that's how you strum it, right? The simplest way to do it is like that. Bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down. All right, now strumming. Let me show you some ways you can sort of flesh out the strumming pattern, because you don't always have to be bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down. You can do that, but you might want to get a bit more full with the strumming, especially when that piano starts to sound like a carnival and you want to make it heavier. Here's a few ways to do that, right? So this first one is going to show how we can add filler strums to that bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down. The filler strums are going to be just up strums, sort of in between the down strums or sort of before or after them selectively. Here's a few examples. You can kind of go between these two as you're playing. I have these tabbed out for a C chord. Just take the pattern and apply it to all the chords. The first one is a bass down, up, down, 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 right? So if I did the sort of first 4 chords like that, right? Okay, another way we could do that is to do a bass down, down, up, bass down, down, up, bass down, down, up, bass down, down, up. Bass down, down, up, 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 bass down, down, up. Okay, we even could do a version where we skip the 2 count, right? It's bass, up, down, up, 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 bass, up, down, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. Okay, so in all of these, the 3/4 time signature is being honored and respected. The 1 count is getting the oomph, the emphasis, and the accented bass note as I'm doing, and I'm just sort of mixing and matching the filler strums. You can sort of go between these as you're playing as well. You don't have to be married to one exact pattern. And if the bass notes are giving you trouble, you even could just strum the full chord on the 1 count. Just keep the 2 and the 3 counts a bit lighter, because you really want the time signature to have some oomph, some emphasis, and you want to really emphasize those changes of the chords where the bass note's going down. So for example, this is a just down, 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 down. It's sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. You even can take that and add up strums after the 2 and the 3 count, right? This is what I like to do during the chorus or the last verse when things are heavy. It's a down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. All in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. That is some strumming options for you there. You have lots of options. Just keep 3 counts per measure, keep a steady groove. I do like hitting the bass notes because it buys you time to get your rest of your fingers in place for the strums on the 2 and the 3 count. So that's one reason to practice bass note strumming. I have a bunch of lessons on my website talking about bass note strumming, talking about alternating bass notes, right? Lots of different lessons I've made with print-friendly guides you can access over there. I'll link to them over on my lesson webpage at songnotes.net. You search for 614, it'll pull up this lesson, and on that lesson webpage, I'll link to all the related lessons that are going to help you out with this one. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about are these ending variations. So whenever we play the intro or the verse or the chorus or the instrumental sections of the harmonica, it's going to end in a few different ways, right? One way is what I'm calling the basic ending, where we just stay on C for 2 measures, right? So, 'cause we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Dun, 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 dun. I just stayed on C for 2 measures there. Nice and straightforward and simple, right? But sometimes there's going to be some variations to that. One is what I'm calling the ending tease, okay? The tease is just we go to an F over C for 2 measures. So it's C, in the piano it sounds like a carnival, okay? So that's a nice little teasing way to sort of... it's a nice way to tease that ending, but it's not really doing anything new or too fancy, right? You're just staying on that. Whenever you're looking at the lyric sheet that I linked to, just look for those 2 measures of F over C, and you're going to know that that is the tease riff. So the last of these endings, and the most fun to play, is the sort of big ending riff. This is one of the most defining musical parts of the song. You hear it at the end of the intro. It's after some of the harmonica solos, not all, and it's always going to go into a verse just after, right? So it's a nice big way to fancy it up. Here's what it sounds like, right? Let me sort of end the chorus, and I'm going to go into this ending riff, right? So we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Okay, that's 3 different ways to play it. Let me show you how to do them now, right? What they're all defined by is a measure of C, a measure of F over C, and then, if you can, a measure of G over C, which means you just keep your 3rd fret of the 5th string fretted, and then play a G chord, right? I'm just doing the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings open. I'll show you a few different ways to do this, though. What's on screen right now is sort of the basic version. It's a C, F over C, and then this G over C I'm doing just by playing 3rd fret, open, open, open on the middle 4 strings. If that G over C is giving you a hard time, just play a G chord, right? So C, F over C, G, and then we do this walk down, right? 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open on the 4th string, and then we end with a C chord, but we're gonna repeat this. We're always gonna play it twice, right? Okay, now there's a couple other ways you could do this. If you can, right, there's a sort of more melodic strumming way where we're going to include the thinnest string note, right? Actually, I should play it as I have tabbed it. So this melodic strumming version, notice how in the first 3 measures, the thinnest string has an extra note added. That's going to match the sort of top melody note you hear in the piano. So if you can do it, and I have a walk down that's a little bit beefier. If that beefier walk down's giving you trouble, just use the one that I showed you earlier where it's a single note. Right? But again, this one requires you to do regular C is not a problem. This F over C is tricky because you need to bar the first 2 frets on the thinnest string, right? And then you need to go to G over C. So basically we're getting these notes. Okay, and for that walk down, again, you can do the simple version, but I have this sort of multiple string version, which is, just think of it as strings 5 and 4 for the most part. Right? Think of this as an F over C, a C, a G, and it ends with a C. And we're wanting the 4th string note to have the melody shine through. So we don't want to strum past the 4th string. So the second version. Okay, that's a fun one to do. Now, a last one I'll have here is what I'm calling melodic triads. What we're gonna do here is use this 5-5-5 on strings 4, 3, and 2 to do our C major, right? I'm barring these with my index finger. And then for the F over C, technically this is not an F over C because of the bass note here, but don't worry about that. It's basically 7th fret, 5th fret, and 6th fret. Just think of it as you take your 5-5-5 and you're gonna put your ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string and your middle finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, so this is our C, this is our F, or our F over C. And for the G over C, we're just gonna move this entire shape up 2 frets. Okay, to 9, 7, 8. Okay, and then we're gonna go back to the F over C, strum it 1 time, and then you're gonna go from 6th fret on the 2nd string, 5th fret on the 2nd string, put your pinky down on 7th fret of the 3rd string, and then you either repeat it or you do a C chord. Okay, so what that one sounds like in context is. And you can end it with a C chord, okay? So let me play through the chorus 1 time, and at the end of the chorus, I'm gonna go into this big ending. I'm gonna play each of the 3 versions I taught you. And you can repeat it, it's okay. It's a very celebratory, sort of bombastic thing. And after the 3rd time I play this ending riff, you go into the next verse, okay? So, sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Now John at the bar is a friend of mine. The one tip I'll have for this ending riff is if you are going to go into the verse immediately afterwards, you kind of have to be ready. Make sure that you come in on the beat to start that next verse. You don't want to fumble over the C chord, okay? So that like triad walk down I was just doing, either make sure you're really good at doing that or just strum that instead. Well, John at the bar is a friend of mine. Okay, so that is how you do the ending riffs there. So that's how you play the entire song there. The final thing I would say as far as performance tips to this song is Billy Joel is able to sing the verse, like verse 1, for example, lower in his vocal range. And then when he gets later in the song, or even when he says, son, can you play me a memory? He's going up an octave, but he's still playing the same chords. He's singing the same notes. They're just the next version up an octave. I can't sing that high. So I have to sing all the verses and the choruses at the same pitch. And that doesn't make the song sound as big and bombastic and exclamatory, right? So how do we, with what we know on guitar, how do we make the song sound bigger? Well, my suggestion and how I do it is I'm going to play, when things are more chill, I'm just going to use a more chill strumming, right? All down strums are 1, 2, 3, bass down, down, bass down, down, bass down, down. And then when I get to the more celebratory parts, for example, when the piano sounds like a carnival, I'm just going to do strumming, full strumming. I'm not going to do the bass notes, right? And the piano, it sounds like a carnival, and the microphone smells like a beer. And they sit at my bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here? Oh, da-de-da. Quiet it down here, right? You want to get quiet before we build it up again. Da-da-de-da-de-da. Okay, ending chorus, here we go. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. So that's everything you need to know. What I'll do here is I'll play through a couple verses and a couple choruses and refrains just to give you an idea. But if you want to get slow playthroughs with the sort of tabs on screen and everything, and if you also want to get my practice notes, it has all this stuff written up, whether you're after the sort of ending riff variations I have or all the strumming stuff. I even have the melody tabbed out. It's all over on my lesson webpage, songnotes.net. This is lesson 614. Thanks to all of you who have requested this song over the years. It's been one I've always wanted to learn, and I'm glad to have it added to my libraries. So before I play this out, let me thank all of you who are supporting me with membership. You keep the lights on around here literally, and you allow me to do this as a full-time job, sharing my love for guitar and teaching you these amazing songs. And if you're not a member, check out my website. You get access to all my premium content, right? My courses, my instructional PDFs. I have some licensed song sheets for sale for some songs. You get a 50% discount code when you buy those. So it's full of good perks. You can join for just a month if you want. You can cancel, you can come back anytime, or you can save a lot of cheddar by joining for an annual membership. So I thank all of you who are supporting me. But let's have some fun with Piano Man here, and I'll see you in the next one, my friends. Take care, and bye-bye. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. Da 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 da. Dum dum da da dum dum. He says, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes. La da di da da di da, la da da di da di da. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright. Da 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 da. Dum dum ba da dum dum. Now John at the bar is a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free, and he's quick with a joke or to light up your smoke. But there's some place that he